Welcome into another edition of The Butcher versus the Spin Instructor. I'm Neil McCready. Greg Jones from LB's Beat Market is here. LB's is who makes this podcast possible, the show possible. Campbell McCready back in Oxford after wrapping up her fall semester. I started to say spring semester. I'm completely out of it. Wrapped up the fall semester, home for the break. So we've got a lot of games to pick this week. It's championship week, SEC championship, ACC, Big 10, Big 12, Mountain West. The Sun Belt championship got COVIDed out, so they're co-champions. Everybody gets a trophy. But we'll talk about Ole Miss, LSU. There's Mississippi State wrapping up its season against Missouri. So there's some games to talk about, Texas A&M and Tennessee. We'll get to all of those in a minute. But first, let's talk a little bit about LB's. Greg, what's going on at LB's as you guys get closer and closer to Christmas? I know that you're getting busy. I saw people coming in, placing orders and that kind of thing yesterday. So what's up?
Yeah, we've got a lot of beef tenderloin orders, a lot of standing rib roast orders. Trim them out, and I can tie them however you want me to, but they average right around 3 to 4 pounds. We actually made another sausage with the jardiniere. We did the spicy Hawaiian with jardiniere, so it's got a pineapple and kick to it. Of course, plenty of Swayze sausage, ribeye sausage. Got some racks of lamb. I got have you ever cooked the picanha? Did you ever cook the picanha?
I have. I've cooked the picanha, and my neighbor, Johnny Goff, that's his specialty. He loves it.
Well, I just got some Australian Wagyu picanhas in for the holidays, and I'm getting a 2 Wagyu ribeye loins on Monday. So if somebody wants to do, a standing Wagyu standing rib roast, we can do that also. Just everything stocked up, mushrooms. As far as fish, didn't get a lot of fish this weekend just because I, don't anticipate it being a really big fish weekend. But I got plenty of salmon. We got some swordfish. I got some crab claws also. So, just basic stuff. But we're going to be open probably Monday through Wednesday, regular hours, and then Thursday probably just going to be open from like 10 to 2, just get some Christmas Eve orders, and we'll be off on Friday, and then I guess I'll probably be back up here, ready to start the day on Saturday morning, so after Christmas. So, but yeah, it's just, holiday season is here, and got plenty of orders for standing rib roast and beef tenderloins. That seems to be the popular thing right now.
So tell me about you were telling me about it yesterday, the standing rib roast, the Wagyu. Tell me a little bit more about that.
So basically it's prime rib. So whenever somebody orders prime rib from a restaurant, it's basically they smoke the whole loin and then slice it and put it on the plate. That's a typical restaurant prime rib. Us, prime rib is our ribeye being prime grade. It's basically the higher end of the USDA chain. So we also get a Wagyu, which is going to be from Mishima Reserve, which is a New Zealand Wagyu. So 2 different types of Wagyu. There's a New Zealand Wagyu and there's a Japanese Wagyu. Also have the Japanese A5 Wagyu sirloin steaks. But the standing rib roast is basically I'll cut the bones off and then tie the bones back onto the loin, and then you just set it on the bones and then just probe it until it gets to 120, 125, or however you like your meat. But whenever it gets to your particular temperature, you just cut the strings off and set it on your cutting board, let it rest, and then just slice it. And that's prime rib.
So Campbell wasn't home yet, but on Saturday we did a bunch of sausage. I came in, remember that? I got a bunch of sausages. You gave me one of the lamb sausage with the jardiniere. Greg, I've always been really partial to the chicken, and the lamb was vying for my heart. It was fantastic.
Yeah, it's very lean too. That jardiniere, we've literally, switched it up, and we're going to start putting jardiniere in all our spicy sausages now. It just gives it such a good flavor, and it's not overbearing kick, but whenever it says spicy, you expect it to be a little spicy. So, but no, it's that jardiniere is unbelievable. That spicy Hawaiian with jardiniere is really good. Also, it's a pineapple and pork and bacon sausage with jardiniere in it. So it's pretty tasty.
So Campbell, you got home Tuesday. You had a snow day in Fayetteville. You still studied for your finals. I think you're pretty pleased with your grades. You did well, right?
Yes, I did do well. I was kind of being dramatic about how much I needed to study. I had to make a 40 on my first test to keep an A, a 50 on my last test to keep an A, and a 50 on my second test to keep a B. So I really was kind of just cruising through the week.
So what was it like?
I'm the other way around. I needed to make like 100 to make 60. So as you can tell, Campbell's a much better studier and scorer than me for sure.
What was it like to go through a college semester completely online?
I'm not gonna lie, it was horrible. I hated it. I never have to do a whole semester online ever again. And as of right now, I have 2 classes in person next semester, which is, I cannot wait to walk to class, actually. But, yeah, it was horrible. I hated it. My studying was I didn't study as much as I did my freshman year for my classes because I felt like it was easier. I don't know if that was the case. I was taking accounting too, and I kind of I don't know. That's a whole different scenario. But
Well, you're a routine person. You like patterns and you like to kind of do the same thing each week. And the way the online thing worked, it didn't really set up that way. So you had to sort of find your own motivation to go study on your own. You were used to, hey, I have a class here and a class here and a class here, and then I go to Starbucks and I study from 1 until 4, and then
yeah, and that was what the hard part was. I live in my sorority house, and it was like I have to be someone that has like a spot to go study, and that's like my studying area. So my freshman year, I'd always go to the Starbucks on campus in between classes and study there, and that was closed. And so I started going to the Starbucks on a street in Fayetteville, and all the Starbucks closed their indoor studying from the month of November to December. So I lost that. So it was just hard studying in my sorority house and being able to focus because all my friends are also there, like running around. So, but it's done and it's over with. So.
Well, we're glad to have you home. Glad you get a break, and you certainly earned it. Because I got to tell you, I don't think I could have taken finance and accounting too, and what else did you have? You had supply chain or something. You had a bunch of stuff, and I just thought I could never do that online. I don't know that I could do it in person, but I damn sure couldn't do it online where I just couldn't do it. And you hear the horror stories from kids at all colleges all over the place that weren't able to do it. So kudos to you for pulling it off. I told you I was proud of you, and
Thank you.
I really am. I admire the stick-to-itiveness that you showed to do it, because I'm not sure your dad could have done as well.
Thank you.
All right. Speaking of doing well, you both had an okay week. Greg, you went 4-4. Campbell, you went 5-3. So everybody's just kind of rocking along on picks. We're starting to get a little steady. Greg, you're 47-51 overall. Still got time to get back over 500. Campbell, you put another game over 500. You're now 65-33, which is just remarkable. Really is. It's professional handicappers would take that all day. It's stunning. But kudos.
I don't even think professional handicappers have that percentage.
No, it's I got nothing. All right, so we'll start with the Big Ten title game. This is at 11 a.m. tomorrow. It's a game that I think everyone in the country is cheering for Northwestern, because everyone is, especially people like us, the three of us. We don't like the Big Ten right now, and we don't want this to work out for the Big Ten. So we would love to see Northwestern beat Ohio State. This game's at 11 a.m. It's in Indianapolis there at Lucas Oil Stadium. You can see it on Fox. Northwestern is getting 20.5 points. So Ohio State playing for a spot in the college football playoff, laying 20.5. Campbell, we'll let Greg decide whether he wants to chase this week or not. So I'll let you go first.
I like Northwestern here. I mean, I'm going to pull for them just like everybody else in the country, But Ohio State's going to have to pull something, 45-10, maybe 52-14, just something that, absolutely ridiculous, But if any team can do it, it's that Ohio State team. But we're going to hope for Northwestern to control the ball and run the ball and chew up some clock, and hopefully those 20-some-odd points hold up in the end.
All right, Campbell. Greg's taking He's taking the Wildcats and the 20.5. What do you say?
I'll just pick Ohio State because Greg didn't. I don't know anything about this game, but that seems like that's the trend we usually go with. So
that's a guaranteed win now. That is a guaranteed
Fair enough. All right, inside the SEC for a minute, Texas A&M. Texas A&M will have one eye on that game in Indianapolis. They would love to see Northwestern beat Ohio State. Texas A&M is a 14-point favorite at Tennessee. This game at 11 a.m. You can see it on ESPN. Campbell, what do you think? Aggies and Volunteers?
Well, I'm not sure if Tennessee's still a mess like we have talked about in the past. But if they are,
nobody's a mess when they play Vanderbilt. Everyone's a mess, and then you play Vanderbilt, and you're not a mess anymore. But then
once a mess, always a mess.
But when you get through playing Vanderbilt, you go back to kind of being a mess.
Well, I'm gonna go with Texas A&M. I don't really know why. I don't know, but we're just gonna go with that.
All right, she's gonna take the Aggies and lay the 14, Greg.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with her on this. I can't chase her on this one. Once a mess, once a hot mess, always a hot mess. So, like you were saying, whenever you play Vanderbilt, you lose your hot, and you're just a mess. So, they're back to the hot mess, and Texas A&M's got to have a good looking victory, regardless if Ohio State slips up or not. So, I don't see why it can't be 42-10 or 42-14 again. I see a big win for Texas A&M here.
I think I do too. And you're right. A&M needs it to be pretty. They need to look really pretty walking down the runway, and need to have their hair just right, and need to have the gown just perfect, and need to have a good day. And sometimes that's a lot of pressure, and teams don't do it. So we'll see. Florida says hello, by the way. Oklahoma -6 is against Iowa State. This game is at what do they call that? AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas. There in Dallas. This is the Big 12 title game. I got to tell you guys, both of you, I can't wait to watch this game. I'm going to turn this game on. We're going to have the stream on for Ole Miss LSU, getting ready for that game, and this is going to be the game I'm going to turn on tomorrow. I'm actually legitimately looking forward to it. These are two good teams that stumbled early, that if the season were a normal year, they'd both be in the mix. So let's see, Greg, it's your turn. Sooners -6 versus the Cyclones.
Like you were saying, this is going to be a really good game. I know that both teams are playing really well. Oklahoma seems like they're hitting their stride, towards the right time of the year. Both teams are hitting their stride right at the good time. I think Iowa State just being kind of coming out of the woodworks and being an exclusive, legit program in the Big 12, and let's say they stamp their statement in this game and maybe win the game. But I think it's going to be a really good game. I know Spencer Rattler for Oklahoma's finally in tune with the offense, and Oklahoma one of the better teams in the country for sure. But I think this is almost kind of like a playoff game. You can do this as a scenario to get in the 4, but they both slipped up early in the year, and it just kind of cost them. But I like Iowa State here. I'll take the points.
All right, Campbell, he's got Iowa State getting the 6 points. What say you?
I'm going to go with Oklahoma. For no reason other than the fact that I kind of toured it, and that's what I usually pick off of. So,
well, you've been on the OU campus twice. You went. I don't know if you remember. You went when Uncle Ryan and them had just moved to Oklahoma City.
Oh, I do remember that. Actually, I have a picture. We have that picture of me and Caroline and Drew took. I remember that. Actually,
you've got your Rumble cap. We'd gone the night before, Greg. We'd gone to a Oklahoma City Thunder, Minnesota Timberwolves game, and Campbell saw Rumble the Bison. Campbell's probably 10 years old, maybe a little less than that, maybe 9, 10 years old. She saw Rumble the Bison down on the court, and she desperately wanted a stuffed Rumble. And so we walked all over Chesapeake Energy Arena looking for a stuffed Rumble. And finally, we were told that they just didn't have them in yet. And so we found one little powder blue cap with Rumble's face on it. And Campbell got that cap, and she put that cap on, and her night went from really kind of depressed to very excited. And she watched Rumble the whole game, and she's been a Thunder fan ever since. And the next day we drove over to Norman, and because I'd never been to OU, I was wanted to see it. And we drove over to Norman. We actually got to go kind of almost into the football stadium. So it was back in a far more innocent time. But so she's going to roll with the Sooners. Greg's got the Cyclones. A game that I'm not looking forward to watching, and so I probably won't, is Missouri at Mississippi State. The Tigers a 1.5-point favorite. Missouri going for a 6-4 season. Mississippi State just playing out the string, although I think Mississippi State's going to be punished by being forced to go to a bowl game, maybe in Birmingham or something. So their season might not end on Saturday. No mercy for the Bulldogs. Missouri minus 1.5. Campbell, I think it's your turn.
I'm just going to go with Missouri because I know they're just better than Mississippi State. No reason other than that. So
that's actually one of your most scientific picks of the year. I can't disagree with that at all. Missouri is better than Mississippi State. Greg, what do you say?
She took the words right out of my mouth, She just beat me to it, just plain and simple. Missouri's going, in a better situation. The program's going a little bit more upward than downward, and Mississippi State's, Mike Leach is going to do what he wants to do, I guess, and I guess State's going to let him do what he wants to do. So, with that being said, I think Missouri's in a better situation, and they're definitely. I actually think this is a really good bet. I think Missouri will run them out of their own, and it just adds more salt to the wound for Mississippi State fans.
I tend to agree with you. I think Missouri wins fairly big. If I just had money to burn, I might play with this game. After the Christmas shopping, I don't have money to burn. So Ole Miss is at LSU. This game, LSU season finale. LSU self-imposed a bowl ban. There will be no bowl for the Tigers a year after winning the national championship. Ole Miss will go bowling. I don't know where, but they will go bowling. Ole Miss, this line's jumped all over the place, but I sent it to you guys early in the week, so we'll stick with this. Ole Miss getting 1 point at LSU. This game is at 2:30 on the SEC network. By the way, if you just don't like yourself, Missouri and Mississippi State is on the SEC network alternate channel, also at 2:30. So Tigers and Rebels in Baton Rouge, big rivalry game, the Magnolia Bowl. They get to play for the Woodshop Trophy. Who do you like, Greg?
I know Elijah Moore and Yabo aren't playing, which is, that's a big loss, but I don't see the offense, not losing a step. They've got plenty of receivers, and yes, it's going to be, it's going to hurt the long ball and the possession, of the offense with losing Moore and Yeboah. But I still think Ole Miss's offense is just twice as, good, better. I like the over, honestly, so I think nobody's going to be able to stop each other. But, I think it's going to be a really good game. I have to go with the Rebs just, because I'm a Rebs fan. I guess betting with my heart here and not my mind. But I think it's a good play. I think it's a good play for Ole Miss here.
All right, Campbell, Greg's taking Ole Miss and his 1 point. What do you think?
Well, I know Ole Miss hasn't played in 3 weeks, which I guess could either be a good or bad thing. I'm not really sure.
It's probably a little bit of both. You get a little rusty when you don't play for 3 weeks. On the flip side, you get healthy and you get your legs underneath you and you're fresh.
Yeah. I'll go with Ole Miss. They might be excited to play after 3 weeks. I know a bunch of Ole Miss students actually are back in town just for fun, I guess. So, maybe they'll all watch it. I don't know. I'll just go with Ole Miss.
Right.
They might be excited to play.
So you're both taking the Rebels and taking your point with you. It ought to be a fun game. I think it's another track meet. Ole Miss's offense scores points. Ole Miss's defense gives up points. LSU's offense scores points. LSU's defense gives up a lot of points. So this has all the makings of a track meet. All right, we'll go to the ACC now. Clemson and Notre Dame. This is let's see, what's the time on this one? This is a 3:00 game on ABC. This game being played at Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte. Clemson, a 10.5-point favorite against the Fighting Irish. This is a huge playoff ramification game in Charlotte. Greg, what do you think?
That's a lot of points for a championship game with two really good teams. I know Trevor Lawrence didn't play in the first game, and that's not saying that's a big deal, but it is kind of a big deal. They're a different team whenever he's in the ball game. Again, 10.5 points is a lot. I'm not taking away any credit from Notre Dame. I could see this being a field goal game, a touchdown game. I don't see Clemson winning by 2 touchdowns, but again, I could totally be wrong and underjudge the Notre Dame team. But Notre Dame's done. I mean, I've bet against them I didn't have a friend that went to Notre Dame, so I didn't have that angle. So I've lost a lot against Notre Dame this year, and I hate to take them now, but I'm gonna have to take them just because I just don't think Clemson is a 2-touchdown team better than Notre Dame.
So it took Greg until December the 20th to get on the Fighting Irish bandwagon. Campbell, you were on it week 1. To your credit, you were all over Ian Book and the Irish. You said I knew this was going to be a great Notre Dame team, and sure enough, there they were. So here we are, ACC title game. You got your Fighting Irish getting 10.5 against Clemson. What do you think?
Of course, I'm gonna go with Notre Dame. Y'all consistently make fun of the way I pick, but for some reason it has worked out and not worked out in Greg's favor. So
that's a valid point.
I'd maybe stop making fun of me. I'm going to Notre Dame. So.
It's more.
I think it's a great pick. It's a great pick.
All of the judges agree with her, by the way. They're all like, "Yeah, exactly. She's killing you." All right, another interesting game. We're getting into the night. It's still 3:15 in the afternoon, actually. Boise State and San Jose State. This is the Mountain West Conference Championship game. It's in Las Vegas at the Raiders' new facility. Did you see John Gruden, by the way, the Raiders coach, on the Thursday night game? He accidentally had an Oakland Raiders hat on, and they caught it, and at halftime they switched him to a Las Vegas Raiders hat. So this game in Vegas, Boise giving 6.5 points to San Jose State, 3:15 on Fox. Campbell, what do you think?
I do not know anything about these two, so I'm just going to go with Boise State for no reason.
It's not a bad pick. Boise State might be the better team. San Jose State's a little bit of a Cinderella team this year. They're having one of their best seasons ever, so everybody there is super excited. Greg, what do you think?
I'll go with the scrappy San Jose State Spartans. I remember a year ago they went into Arkansas and beat Arkansas. Weren't you at that game?
We were in town. I had gone up that weekend because it was Kyo Dad's weekend. We didn't go to the game, but I remember I took Campbell back to her dorm, and as I was leaving, her dorm was right next to the football stadium, basically, and people were filing out of Reynolds Razorback Stadium, and they were pissed. So I found the score on the radio, and they were losing to San Jose State, and I was like, uh-oh, he's not going to – he being Chad Morris, he's not going to survive this. And he didn't. He made it a few more weeks, but that was the night that –
I remember that because we were all making fun of Arkansas because we were like, I don't even know what San Jose State is, and we lost to them. So –
yeah.
They're the Spartans.
The Spartans. Turns out they were in the process of building a program. All right.
I like San Jose State. I mean, I just remember 3 years ago they were they were 30, 40-point underdogs, and I don't know who they hired. I think they, hired a decent coach, whoever they hired. So turned the program around good. So 3 years later, they're in the championship game on a weird 2020. So let's go with them.
I'm cheering for him too. I'm cheering for the Spartans. So Campbell's got Boise State. She's laying the 6.5. Greg's getting the 6.5 and going with the Spartans. Back to the SEC. It's the SEC championship game at 7 o'clock on CBS. It's Alabama and Florida. This game in Atlanta at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Alabama is a 17-point favorite. Greg?
I think the Tide's just going to roll. I mean, I know that Florida lost last week, and to a kind of a put together LSU team. But with that being said, I just think Alabama's just too strong this year, and I'm not saying that Florida looked ahead to Alabama, but they might have looked ahead, but you can't look ahead in the SEC, they're regardless of how bad the teams played this year. So, kudos to LSU last week at Florida for kind of ruin their season. But I think Alabama's going to really ruin their season in Atlanta this weekend.
I think I agree with you. Campbell, what do you think?
I'm agreeing with him. I'm going with Alabama.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you guys how good Alabama is right now. So I'm a Heisman voter, and if I had to do my vote today, and I've got to do my vote by Sunday, so I've got to hustle. I think all 3 spots on my Heisman ballot would go to an Alabama player. I think Devontae Smith, Mac Jones, Najee Harris in some order. Right now today, I mean, I guess Kyle Trask could change that with a huge game for the Gators. That's about it. There's nobody else in the whole country sticks out as like that's a Heisman candidate. That's how good Alabama's offense is. Historically phenomenal.
Yeah, I've had a friend that literally has bet Alabama first half and Alabama, the whole year. That's all he's bet, and I think he's like something like 17-2 or something like that. Just first half Alabama and team total over. That's just what he does. So there's ways to crack a bookie for sure, but that's an easy way to do it right there.
All right, last game on the slate. It is the what league is this? The American Athletic Conference championship game. It's Tulsa and Cincinnati. The game in Cincinnati. Tulsa is getting 14.5 points. This game begins at 7 p.m. Also, it's on ABC. Campbell, Tulsa was really good to you at the beginning of the year. In fact, I have a little anecdote. We were just getting started, and we picked Tulsa SMU, I think. And SMU had like a 20-point third, fourth. 21-0. SMU was rolling, and I got a text going, Campbell missed Tulsa bad. And
that's all it took. That's all it took was one little text like that,
Tulsa came back and won like 24-21. I just sent a text back and I said, "Hey, she has science on her side." So you got the Golden Hurricane? That's what Tulsa is. Tulsa Golden Hurricane against the Cincinnati Bearcats. Your Hurricane's getting 14.5 points.
Well, I'm gonna stick with Tulsa. It seems to. I'm just saying, my picks always work for me for the most part. So I'm going to keep it going strong and go with Tulsa.
Your cousin Mike Neal would be pleased with that pick. Greg, what do you think?
Well, I'm not taking away anything from Tulsa. They're a good club. They've got a really good linebacker, I think. But Cincinnati is a sneaky good under the radar team. I know they don't play in a premier conference, but I think if they played in the ACC, they would probably give some of those teams a run in the ACC. Is it Finkel?
Luke Fickell.
Yeah, good coach. I think he's a former Ohio State guy. So I like Cincinnati here. I think that might be a little too many points, but Cincinnati's a good club and they've had a good year. And why not roll the championship game to top it off?
All right, so Campbell's got Tulsa, Greg's got Cincinnati. Ought to be a fun weekend. As always, I'm just thankful that we have a weekend of football. I kind of enjoy this December the 20th, a full slate of college football. It's kind of fun. Yeah, so we will take next week off because next week's Christmas, and we'll come back right around New Year's Eve-ish, and we'll pick some bowl games and see if Greg can't close some ground as we get closer to the end of the college season. We'll keep going through the Super Bowl because we'll give Greg as many opportunities as possible to close the gap or to get embarrassed, whichever way it works out. That's how it works. What you won't be embarrassed of is if you go to LB's, you won't be embarrassed by the product. Everyone will praise it. It is absolutely fantastic. They've got the freshest cuts of everything, whether you're looking for beef, pork, homemade sausages, the house-made sausages, I should say, chicken, fish. It's all there at LB's. And don't forget, when you walk in on the left side, they've got all the frozen section. It's fresh. Just put it in there, frozen. You $2 off everything there. If you're looking to kind of stock your freezer a little bit, that's the way to go. And if you want something fresh to throw on the grill right then, it's all right. All the fresh stuff is right there on your right and in front of you. So it's all fantastic at LB's. And Greg, how do they get in touch with you this weekend?
Just always call the store, 662-259-2999. We're taking orders. I'll take orders all the way till probably Monday or Tuesday. Just don't want to, get overloaded up here. We are kind of short-staffed. I've got one of my college kids went back home for Christmas, so it's just me and Richard and Zach up here. So I was going to ask you, how was those? Have you cooked one of those strips yet? Those frozen strips?
Yes. So I did, and I got it. So Campbell's going to be really jealous here. So I took the strips, thawed them out, just in some cold water, and then I seasoned them. What I did was I seasoned them. I put a little pat of butter on each one, not a lot, just a little. And I put some garlic cloves and some fresh thyme, sealed it, put it in the sous vide at about 129.
Oh, wow.
129 for about 2 hours, took it out, let it rest a minute, and then I just got the grill real hot and seared them. I mean, they were probably on the grill 3 minutes.
Oh, wow.
And, wow, they were fantastic. I mean, they were absolutely fantastic. They were they were great. I mean, you could taste the garlic just a little bit. It was very subtle. You could taste the butter a little bit, but it wasn't like I was just slathering butter on it. And you really couldn't taste the thyme. Maybe just a little note of the thyme, gave it some seasoning, salt and pepper. It was fantastic. It was probably what I'll do again here soon. I think I may have figured something out. I might replace the thyme with some rosemary, or I might add a little rosemary to it. I might add a little more garlic in there, but it was great. Oh, and I drizzled a little olive oil on it before I put it in the sous vide. It was fantastic. It was moist and great. And everybody in my house likes their steaks medium rare, maybe just to the shade of rare on medium rare, but not except Laura. Laura likes for the cow to still be screaming for its life right there on the driveway. But everybody else, yeah, she likes hers cooked about, 72 degrees. Everybody else likes theirs at about 131, 132, somewhere in there. So it was perfect. It was great. And it made for a fun night. I had everybody else went back inside. I had an outdoor fire built, and I stood there and watched Florida choke LSU, and I couldn't decide who was more intoxicated, me or that football game. I mean, it was a weird football game, but it was a fun night. And we did the sausages from LB's, and I think the lamb was everybody's favorite, believe it or not.
Yeah.
We did some of the ribeye sausage, which is always Laura's favorite. And we did the chicken jalapeno with the jardiniere, which I think is still my favorite, but the lamb's really challenging it. And we did the lamb with the jardiniere, and it was a lot of fun. So we'll do it again here soon now that Campbell's back, because I think that's one of her favorite meals as well. So, hey, thanks to all of you guys. Merry Christmas to you, Greg. I know I'll see you before then, but Merry Christmas to you. Merry Christmas to everybody who's listening. We love the feedback that we get on this podcast. I get several people every week that are like, hey, I love this podcast. It's so much fun. It's kind of laid back and different. And that was the plan. That was the thought. And to all of you who have seen the podcast and said, yeah, I'm going to go to LB's, that's also the point too. And appreciate you doing that. I know Greg does as well. And his store, LB's, is just super. It's right there across from Kroger. It's my favorite place in Oxford. Give it a shot. It'll become your favorite place in Oxford as well. So until probably around New Year's Eve, we'll stop till then. Enjoy the games, enjoy the holidays, stay safe, and we will talk to you again on the next episode of The Butcher versus the Spin Instructor, presented by LB's Meat Market. Take care.